So Wigged Out is a nonprofit that financially provides assistance for people to either get a wig, a hair piece, a hair accessory, scarves, things like that, a hat, for any medically related hair loss. So there is a lot of cancer applicants, but there are also, recipients that have alopecia or have lost hair from a medical condition. There are several different things that can come up, not just cancer. And I think that is an important piece to note too, because we do want to just help anybody with hair loss, not just cancer related, even though my story is cancer related.
Do you feel comfortable sharing a bit about your story?
Sure.
And how it rallied to even form this organization?
Yes, yeah. I actually love sharing my story because I do think that for me, part of like my recovery after cancer, the emotional recovery, because there's a physical recovery, but there's quite certainly an emotional recovery. And for me, being able to share my story and be really honest about it has really helped me. It's cathartic in a way, so I am always like happy to share. So in 2011, you want me to take it back, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Go all the way back.
I was on an airplane ride, and I was actually flying to, they're still best friends of ours today, their wedding, and I was flying from Florida to Chicago, and that was the first kind of layover, and weather in Chicago, so there was just massive amounts of turbulence. And I'm just kind of prepping with this because I went like this at one point and felt right here like a little bit of a lump, right kind of where your lymph node is, and I felt the other side. I know it's supposed to be, that doesn't feel right.
Yeah, what's going on?
Yeah, exactly. I'm like, okay, I don't know. I was living in Florida for a very short internship, so I was like, my allergies were kind of funky. I was in a different climate, so I was like, oh, I'm sure it's nothing. And I chatted with some friends about it. I wasn't alarmed, but they were like, yeah, my lymph nodes get swollen all the time. I'm like, okay. So fast forward to kind of about a month later, and it was still there. And I don't know, I just felt like that's just weird. I've never had sort of swollen lymph nodes that I have felt or noticed. And so I had moved back home to Phoenix. Before that, I was living in California. So I had moved home. So I was about to get married in a few months. And, I just made an appointment with my doctor because, I don't know, I just felt like something was kind of weird. And so I wwent in and, she was like, I was, young, 25, 26, something like that. I think I just turned 26. And she was like, this could be absolutely nothing, or it could be something. And if it's something, it's not going to be a good something. So let's run some tests. And I'm like, okay. So, they drew my blood. They did like a x-ray. I think it was like a chest or something x-ray. And then they had scheduled me to come in for some other testing, but I kind of did that all right then. And I do remember I called my mom and I left, and my mom's like, I'm sure it's nothing. And I'm like, Mom, she said it might be something, and I'm sure as a mom, you just don't want your brain to go there, right? And so that evening I had gotten home and my wedding invitations had come in. And so, I'll never forget, my littlest sister was across the table, and we're all stuffing my wedding envelopes. And my husband now at the time, fiance, was at work. And my mom was at work, but I was at her house because we had just moved back from San Diego. So we were living with my mom while our condo was rented out. Anyways, I'm just letting you know why we were all there.
Massive transition stage in your life.
Totally. We were young, living with my mom again. My fiance was living with us too. So, Kate and I are stuffing the wedding envelopes, and it's about 5:30, maybe 5:15, and my phone rings, and it's the doctor. It's never good when your own doctor calls you anymore, right? Doesn't happen as much anymore. So I pick up the phone, and she's like, hi, Chelsea. I'm like, hi. And she's like, I'm so sorry, but I just want to let you know that, we think that you have Hodgkin's lymphoma, or I think you have lymphoma. I don't even think we knew it was Hodgkin's then, but she said, we think you have lymphoma, and I'm going to need you to come back in and do some more tests, and we need to stage you out and, find out what stage you're in. And I'm going to get you in touch with an oncologist here. And I was just like, she's like, do you have any questions? And I was like, what's lymphoma? You know, I know what lymphoma is, but I mean, I've heard it, but like, what is it exactly? You know, and she's like, it's a blood cancer. And I'm like, just, you know, it's like your world just stops, but I'm like, not like understanding it. You know, you're just like, wait, what is happening right now? This can't be happening right now. And at that second, you know, I get off the phone with her, and then my mom kind of walked through like the back door, and like, we're kind of here. And I saw on her face, I was like, she knows. We both see this doctor, that probably this doctor shouldn't have, we won't say her name, given my mom the heads up. But she did. I think she's a mom, and she's known us for a long time. And I'm so glad that she did. Now that I'm a mom, I'm like, I don't know, hearing your daughter tell you. I knew she knew. Do people like cry on here and think about? Okay, yeah.
They do.
So anyway, so my mom walks in, and I could just tell that she knew, and I'm like, I have cancer, and my mom's like, I know, I just talked to her, and then, sorry, one second. It puts you like right back sometimes, which is wild. This was almost like 11 years ago, which is just crazy. So anyway, and then my husband now walks in, and I'm just like, you know, I have to tell him. And I mean, I just remember saying to him, like, you're not going to marry me. I mean, because we didn't, you know, all you think about is like cancer and death, you know. I mean, not that everyone dies from cancer, because they don't, but that's just kind of like, I'm just like, you're not going to marry me, you know, you're not, I mean, and it was just a whirlwind of a situation. So fast forward to, they do the staging, and I ended up being stage 3. So I probably had cancer for about a year and didn't know it. I was in graduate school at the time. So, you know, some of the symptoms of cancer, you're tired, you're losing weight. I mean, the things that I'm like, I was getting married, so I was, you know, I wanted to be in good shape, and stress, and I was tired, and like, you know, just all the things. Thank you so much. Sorry.
No.
And, you know, so looking back, sure, were there some things probably, but, you know, at the time I didn't necessarily know. So anyway, so we ended up meeting with the oncologist, and, you know, he's like, you are stage 3. So there's 4 stages of cancer. You're stage 3, like, we need to get you treated. And what I was told was, you know, your prognosis is really good. So your chemo is going to be aggressive, or your treatment's going to be aggressive, because your chances of survival are high, but we want this like gone. And so, you know, it was going to be 6 months of chemo and then possible radiation at the end, which, you know, I am very lucky I didn't end up needing radiation, but it was like every 2 weeks. And so my oncologist was like, you need to cancel your wedding. Okay. So my husband and I have known each other since high school, and I was just like, no, you know, at this point I'm like, no, I am going to marry you. Yeah. And then I was like, no, I'm going to marry, no, I'm not canceling. You know, I'm just sobbing in the oncologist's office. Like, you know, we were planning our wedding, and
you found out on the day you're stuffing your invitations.
Yes.
So yeah.
Yeah. It was
everything's just.
Yeah. It was just so, I'm like, no, you know, we just did not want it. So my husband's really like math kind of oriented, and he's like, takes out, I think we literally maybe had a hard calendar then. He was like, let's figure it out. You know, when can she have chemo? Okay, we're getting chemo every 2 weeks. Like, how can we map this out to where I know you can't predict if she'll feel good after chemo, but like, when will she feel her best? And so he was like, we are not canceling this wedding. And he's normally more like the quiet, reserved one, but he's just like, we're not going to cancel it. And so we did it that way. And ironically, Valentine's Day is always, that was my first chemo, was on Valentine's Day. So it's very ironic that we're filming this on Valentine's Day.
Happy chemoversary.
I know. Isn't that crazy? And when I got my port in, which a port is just thing that they put in so they can access your vein a lot easier. It's not as painful. The doctors, they did like the bandage was like all in a heart because I got it, like a week before I ended up getting the chemo on Valentine's Day. So it's very like ironic that we're doing it on Valentine's Day, but I kind of like that.